Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumption or belief.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This is That Thing of Ours.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Friday, 25th of July, 2025. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Locals, and Pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a second and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. And if you're on Facebook, you got like 7 choices. So run over there and clickety-click away.
There you go. Clickety-click, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good Friday. I hope everybody's ready for the weekend. I know some people are going to be strolling in here soon. It's getting ready for this weekend. I think everybody's had an interesting week this week, but hey, it's all good. There's Liberty. How you doing, Liberty?
Got Liberty in the house.
Thank you for joining. Appreciate that.
We got Chops over on pill.net.
Hey, Chops. Thanks for joining.
Got F. Clint in the house.
Yo, what's up, F. Clan?
Got Silver in the house.
Hey, Silver.
So hopefully when everyone's having a Friday.
Yeah, hopefully it's a Friday. There we go. All right. Still getting stuff ready over there, I take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always things. There's always things to do.
Chops says it's a fox hopping day from work.
It's a fox hopping day from work. Yeah, I see that.
That's awesome.
It's a funny little gif he's got there.
You ready?
Yeah,
We
I'm
got
ready.
a lot to cover on this Friday.
All right. Yeah, it looks like it's a long list.
Yeah.
All right.
Can you read that?
Yes. Alan Dershowitz shares what worries him most about the Epstein case files.
Let's listen.
All right, let us listen.
I spent years trying to lose
That's
weight
sad.
the
After
conventional
the
way.
ad.
After
Yeah.
the
Then I found
Can we
direct
mute
meds.
that in the meantime? Or no, skip
America
the ad. There we
is
go.
back.
Oh, Lord,
Thanks
there's
to
more than one
President Trump and
commercial.
leader John
Lord
Thorne's
have
No, I
mercy.
working
can't.
family tax cuts. No.
What I'm worried about is that when
Here we
these
go.
files come out, they will include only the false accusations, but not the information that would show that these accusations are false, because these judges are, quote, protecting the victims. Well, the 2 people I've just mentioned, Farmer and Ransom, they're not victims. They're perpetrators. They're criminals. They're perjurers. They're people who belong in prison. So we have to separate out the truthful from the untruthful. And you don't get that by lists of accusers or anything like that. You get that from real testimony from people who were there, like Ghislaine Maxwell. So I hope they do make a deal. I hope she gets time served. She's, after all, served already longer than anybody ever for any comparable crime. And so if she does turn over all of her information, not only her testimony, but her physical evidence, we may finally be able to close the book up.
In case you guys couldn't hear that echo, that's exactly why we wear headphones, because he was echoing
Bad. Yeah. The echoes, if you're not
Yeah.
wearing headphones, can be absolutely atrocious. Anyway, so Dershowitz, saying the things that he needs to say, certainly prepping the battlefield for what's about to be coming in terms of the flood of information. And we're going to be getting into all of the brouhaha about Ghislaine Maxwell today.
Yes, we are.
It's all part of the story, and it's just setting the tee up. It's going to get teed off here real soon.
Yep. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you read that, please?
Ghislaine Maxwell seen carrying mystery box into prison after secret meeting with Trump's DOJ.
Let's watch.
All right.
What I really loved
yes.
about the
Oh, Lord have
certification
mercy.
experience, the instructors created.
This is video of
skip.
Maxwell
There we go.
returning to prison just moments after meeting with Trump's Deputy Attorney General. And you can see her there. Actually, if you look closely, she's carrying a box of material. Now, Maxwell's attorney says she was forthcoming with every question that Trump's team threw at her today.
Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped. She never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability.
All right.
Thoughts?
So, obviously, the DOJ is excited about her, and I know people aren't very excited about Dershowitz. I know that his name popped up on the lists, at least that took the flight logs, and that certainly implicates, but it also implicates President Trump too, as well as so many other people. And I think that that's why people are asking for this information to come out. And obviously that's kind of been the theme of everything we've heard for a while now, ever since President Trump said, there's nothing there, leave it alone. Now, all of a sudden, the whole world wants to know about what's going on there. Oh, he must be hiding something. Yeah, of course, that's what people think that have been denying it the whole time. Everybody's been saying we need to find out about this, but here we are, and it's slowly but surely the buildup is happening, and at some point in time, the bubble's got to burst.
Does.
There's Hope. Hey, Hope.
Hey, Hope.
I've been making some lasagna. Fried up to freeze for quick meals. Oh, nice. Sounds nice. Trump never went to the island. Dershowitz did. I don't know if Dershowitz did. I didn't see anything about that specifically. But I know that he was certainly on the flight logs. But again, the flight logs don't mean the island. It just means that it's to the island where the boat is that you can take
Dershowitz
to.
did go.
Okay, so he did go. Okay, I guess there's a boat log.
Anyway,
it's all going to come out. I don't know why he'd be asking for everything to come out, unless he's not on there. But
yeah,
again, we'll all see. Dershowitz is on the list. Thank you, Silver.
You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
All righty. It's good, the big yellow one. Satanic Occult Ritual Exposed. Researcher Joey Pepperoni believes he's decoded Epstein's chalkboard.
Let's watch.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting.
We are now inside Jeffrey Epstein's library. This chalkboard displayed cryptic words, and we're not sure what this means, but we're hoping you in the audience can take a look at this.
All right, class, this was a blueprint to summon something. Let's break it down. When the plants appear, it begins. They drop in fake influencers, controlled assets, politicians, puppets. That's the first move. Power is a function of four things: money, physical control over your body, celebrity influence, and politics. They run those, they run the world. Now subtract truth from power, and what do you get? Deception. That's how they distort reality. And right under it, mirror and face. They mess with your perception and identity. Then you got music. Names on the board: Amen, Mimi. Could be handlers, could be signals. Either way, music becomes frequency control. You don't just hear it, it programs you. Next up, time minus delay. That's delta T. It means this isn't instant. It's all delayed activation. Like a psychological landmine. You step on it today, it detonates next year. Then you get this, 13 and a half. 13? That's the bloodlines. Rothschilds, Rockefellers, all of them. They own the banks, the wars, the puppet governments. But the half? That ain't human. That's the hidden ruler, the ancient force, the god they serve. And this statue on the side? That's him. That's the half. Then you see this equation. Dark plus brainy. That's the operator class. Black site minds, predictive engineers, or AI. These are the ones pulling the strings. This whole thing, it ain't a strategy. It's a summoning sequence, a ritual, a formula to wake something up. 13 runs the show, but the half writes the script. It's a god of sacrifice, control, and fear. And this right here, this is how they're calling him in.
Do you think it's still happening? Sacrificing people to this god. Moloch.
Thoughts?
All right. Well, that was an interesting video. I've never heard of Mr. Pepperoni before, but certainly a slick little video. I have never seen that chalkboard. Have you seen that chalkboard before?
No.
No. So I don't know, but I mean, something we kind of all expected anyways. I don't know if it's any proof of anything. And then we looked at
everyone's going to have opinions.
O'Keefe.
Right
Yeah, everybody's got opinions, but I don't remember O'Keefe even talking about that. But I guess I didn't watch O'Keefe as much as I should have. Otherwise, I would have seen that, huh? Anyways, yeah, that's all really interesting. Is this the kind of stuff that's going to be coming out? I mean, it's certainly the path that every researcher has kind of come to the conclusion of, is that there's some kind of rituals going on in the background. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I'm ready.
Can you read that, please?
Breaking video. DOJ meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell just wrapped up, and she wants something big from President Trump.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
I just got a damn AC for only $2,000 instead of the 20,000 everyone was.
No roof panels, no leases, no complicated installs.
Boy, the commercials are thick tonight, huh?
New at 2, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's meeting with convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has ended. This as critics are calling for more transparency in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Welcome back as we head into hour 2 of America Reports. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and Bill, great to have you here today.
Great to be with you as well, Sandra. I'm Bill Malugin in Los Angeles. John Roberts has the day off. That meeting Sandra just mentioned just wrapped up moments ago. Maxwell was escorted back to the prison from the courthouse in Tallahassee. Her attorney said they had a, quote, productive meeting with Blanche, but details of their talks still remain under wraps right now.
All right, Fox Team coverage is at the ready. Chief legal correspondent Shannon Bream is live here in New York City, standing by with analysis. But first, let's get to our justice correspondent, David Spunt. He's got the latest from Washington for us. So, David, what else did Maxwell's attorney say?
Well, he said a lot. We wish we could be in and hear what was said in the actual meeting. This meeting was a lot shorter than it was yesterday, but this was a 2-day event. The highlight, though, it appears that her team wants a pardon. Watch.
We're going to take one day at a time. I know that's very cliche, but it's true because things are happening so quickly. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And listen, the president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way.
But the president leaving the White House today was asked directly about a pardon or commutation of
All right.
Thoughts?
So the meetings went on for 2 days, and I think we're going to get to the thing where she was allowed to bring some kind of box of stuff in, which is
No. That was what I played before, where she.
That's right. She had already brought the box. Okay, so we already played that one. Yeah. So obviously some talking was done. They're talking about a pardon. May not be a pardon. I don't know what exactly is going to happen, but he could certainly have her released without, expunging the records. Again, this is all, I believe, big scale spy games. Certainly believe that this is a war that has been going on for a lot longer than people think. And it is just kind of where we're at, and there's only very few ways that you could expose something like this. But a lot of people are going to be shocked and surprised. A lot of people aren't going to really take a lot of the information that comes out very well, depending upon how much actually gets released. But if Ghislaine is talking, what does that actually mean? Especially if we think that it's a honeypot operation designed to catch bad actors within not only our government, but governments around the world, and the corrupt system that kind kind of holds this whole thing up. Is this our opportunity to bring everything down? Was this a Mossad/CIA operation to take down members of organizations that may be tied to the Nazi Party or the KKK? I have no idea, but certainly there are ties to those organizations with the people that we've seen that were on the lists, I guess you could say, on the flight logs. There's just a lot of interesting information there. So really need to find out what's going on. And the only way to do this is to get Ghislaine to talk in front of Congress, and then the mass of information that's going to be coming out. Yeah, because they're talking about hundreds of thousands of documents. Yeah, it's interesting.
One more. This is from New York Post.
All right.
Can you read that, please?
My eyes must be working well today. House panel votes to subpoena Bill and Hillary Clinton over possible links to Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah, well, there's been lots of photos. I mean, easy to get photos with people.
That's not a video, so you got.
So it's not a video. Oh, okay. Well, there's no way. I can't even read that. Here, I got to blow this up. Okay. House Oversight Panel Subcommittee voted to subpoena Bill and Hillary Clinton on Wednesday over their alleged ties to notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's convicted accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. Representative Scott Perry, Republican of Pennsylvania, introduced the motion for subpoenas during a federal law enforcement subcommittee hearing, and it was approved by the Republican-led panel via voice vote with no roll call taken. The Clintons and several former top Justice Department officials, ex-FBI Director James Comey, one-time Special Counsel Robert Mueller, and former Attorneys General Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Merrick Garland, Bill Barr, Jeff Sessions, and Alberto Gonzalez were included in the list of subpoenas sought by Perry in order to, quote, expand the full committee's investigation into Ms. Maxwell. Well,
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Be careful.
Yeah, be safe. Be safe driving, brother. Glad you're listening. Thank you. So let's see. Sounds like there's a lot of people getting drug into this. We knew that the Clintons were going to get wrapped up into all of this. You know, there was the whole video at the 9/11 memorial where Hillary Clinton had got thrown into the van like a side of beef, and Bill has not looked like Bill for a long time, and we know that it's all closing in on them. I mean, so many people were aware that those were not necessarily people who cared about this nation. Now we're going to find out a little bit more about who they are, especially with the quote unquote rumors swirling around Hillary and said island. But certainly going to clean house, I believe. And it's a big deal to take down presidents. There's no doubt about that.
Exactly.
But it's not just the president. There's some big key players that were running this country, and that would certainly explain why things have been going so poorly for so long. And a lot of people will probably have some real aha moments here in the future.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we don't forgive, we're wrapping our own hands in unforgiveness. And God is like, I want to bless you. And you're like, God, I want to receive it, but I can't. They hurt me real bad. And God is like, I understand they hurt you. And what I'm asking you to do does not negate the pain of what they did to you, but you have to forgive. Forgiving does not mean that they have regained your trust. Forgiving means that you have decided to start your healing journey with Jesus. And when I decide to forgive, what it does is it frees me of every bondage, every shackle, every chain, every rope that tried to entangle me and hold me hostage in a prison that God did not put me in.
Thoughts?
Forgiveness can be one of the hardest things, especially when it's in the moment. I know that I have a hard time with that, and it's something that I practice for each and every day. But I also know that every time that I've learned how to forgive this or that or the other thing, it's made my life just a little bit better. And then over the years, it's become exponentially better than how it used to be. I used to hold on to all the pain and hurt and everything, but this, but that, rah, makes me angry. And it got exhausting. It is exhausting holding on to that pain and not being able to forgive. And it's not saying that it ever becomes an easy practice, because it hasn't become an easy practice. As various things happen, and as we deal with some things that are pretty heavy and deep, it can be a challenge for all of us to try to get past that. But in the end, when we work on these forgivenesses, it makes our life a little bit better. And then part of that is we have to learn how to forgive ourselves. And that's another big aspect of forgiveness. So always make sure that you're working on forgiveness and ask God for that help, because he does want to help us. And being able to have that lighter heart helps us move forward a little bit better each and every day. So work on that as a primary thing that we should, at least for myself. I work on forgiveness as a primary thing that I'm working on, because it really does help a lot. Silver says, do we forgive evil like the Satanists? We have to forgive them, have to forgive Hillary Clinton.
We have to pray for them.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy. It doesn't mean you agree with them. And it doesn't mean you're going to go out and have drinks with them, and have dinner. It just means you're praying for them, and you have to let it go, because like Santino always says, the acid in which the vessel in which the acid is stored does more
harm than on the or on that which it is poured. Yeah. Acid does more to the vessel in which it's stored than on that which it is poured.
Right.
Hey, Randoon, thanks for joining. So forgiveness, there is a difference between forgiveness and embracing a lifestyle. There's a huge difference with that. And it was kind of one of those things that we were talking about a couple days ago, where, sometimes we pray for God to send his adversary to these people so that way they can see the errors of their way. After all, God sent his adversary to us. He sent his adversary to me to make me change my ways. And I'm grateful for that, because it made me learn to go to God. And if those people who call themselves Satanists, they get the full Satan kind of thing going on, they might be like, oh, wait, hold on, I think I want to change my mind. And if they could open their heart, if their hearts could be softened, then you know what? It could make some real changes in this world. Refer back to that video, oh God, months ago now, Kingdom. And you can find that in a lot of places. But that's tremendous, the amount of a message of how forgiveness could be beneficial for everybody. Carol says, give it to God, but I never forget. You don't have to forget. The forgetting comes with time, as those pains and sufferings diminish over time. The time-space continuum. The more time and space that is there between those hurts and that forgiveness, the more likely we are to completely forget about it, because it's not part of our present life. Excuse me. And the forgiveness, when we are able to forget about it, means that that's a chapter in our lives that we're not going to dig back up and bring into the present. We don't need to bring the past up to make our lives miserable. It's kind of like, don't worry about tomorrow because today has enough worries for itself. Well, today has enough worries for itself, so stop worrying about yesterday too, kind of thing. It's not easy. I get it. Trust me, I understand on a deep level. And I think that it's more about forgiveness is for you. Forgetting is for you, because it's not a part of your daily life anymore, if that makes any sense. F. Clint, then you put it in the wrong vessel. Thanks, F. Clint. If you forget, it will happen again. That is not necessarily true. You don't get rid of the lessons. The lessons don't go away, but the hurt is not what we need to be focusing on. What we need to recognize is that was then, this is now, and are you going to allow that scenario to happen again? Because you're wiser now. And I hope that helps. Now, for what it's worth, there's things that have happened in life that I have a hard time forgetting too. So I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's a years long practice, but the more we make the past hurts not be a part of our present lives, then the less hurt that we have now in relation to what was. So we can live in the present.
Right.
Carol says, I do give it to God. And that's the only thing we can do. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong by not being able to forget about it. And it's a very rational concept to be concerned that if you forget about it, that these things could happen again. But it's kind of burning yourself up. You're burning the candle at both ends there sometimes. Right. So just, is it helping you? Is it helping your heart? There's things we kind of got to go through. There's really no good advice, I guess, other than turn to God. Silver says, like, if you got stung by a stingray, can you forgive him? Or you can forgive him, but you can't forget there are other stingrays in the ocean. Yes. So, but what we do is we recognize, ooh, that's a spicy critter. I want to stay away from that spicy critter.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that specific incident with that one spicy critter. But I hope that that's a good analogy there.
You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
The late, great Hulk Hogan on accepting Christ as his Lord and Savior.
Let's listen.
We should.
Well, when things were tough, I realized that this too shall pass, that this was just a temporary situation. I realized that, as long as I made the right choice, and followed my faith more than what people were saying, or what the newspapers or the tabloids were saying, and didn't get sucked into that, none of that stuff was real. The only thing that is really real is the stuff that's going to last forever. Your faith and your belief in God, and knowing that, once you're a Christian, you've accepted Christ as your Savior. You're not going to perish, but you're going to have everlasting life. That belief in itself and that faith is what's pretty much the only thing that's real to me. Everything else is kind of like a life situation, but that's my life after life after life.
Thoughts?
Turning to Christ is not an easy process. It's gonna dig everything up in your life, and that's how we learn to put his yoke on, as opposed to trying to carry the entire load by ourselves. We're able to let go of some of our load, and God makes sure that that our burdens don't weigh as heavy on us. So yeah, turning to Christ is what we try to do more and more every day, but it does make our life just a little bit better each and every day, until we don't even recognize all of the things that we were holding on to before, because we change our focus so that way we can have that soft heart, which makes life a lot easier. And it may be difficult. Some of us have to go way back to our early childhood to remember that time when we were children and our hearts were open, and you were with your friends, and somebody accidentally hit you upside the bed or upside the head with a wiffle ball bat or something like that, and you get over it in just a couple of minutes, and you go right back to
seconds.
Or seconds. You know how kids are. In a couple of seconds they've already forgotten and they're already playing again. Well, that's that childlike nature that Jesus wants us to have, that he was talking to us about. It's not an easy process, but we can get there again because we were there before. But spend some time trying to remember those moments where it was like, yeah, you know what? I used to live in the absolute present because it wasn't worth holding on to it, because I'd rather get back to, playing the game of wiffle ball or whatever the case is. Silver says Hulk Hogan is with Jesus right now. I do believe that.
Yep. You ready?
I hope this is helping.
You ready?
Yeah, I am.
Would you read that, please?
Let's see. Yes. Put the monocle on. I love this thing. All right. Woke writer shares her delight at Hulk Hogan's death and says she's dancing on his grave. Wow, that's interesting.
You gotta read this.
Oh, it's a reader. All right, well, let's go ahead and leave this on and go ahead and blow this thing back up. A writer who worked for the media company sued into bankruptcy by Hulk Hogan after it published a sex tape featuring the wrestler crassly celebrated the sports icon's death on a Thursday at 71. Quote, she says, so Hulk Hogan died, science writer Yvette d'Entremont posted on X just hours after Hogan's death. Wow. As a former Gawker writer, as are all Gawker writers, thanks to Hulk Hogan, I won't be the first or last to say F that guy. Wow. So cold heart. Is that her?
Yeah.
Wow. So Bible talks about this kind of unforgiveness. And you know what? Obviously the courts felt that you were a terrible journalist based off of the way that you did things. I can't help you with that. But that bitterness isn't going to help you any. And I know you don't care about, Jesus or anything like that, because
Obviously.
you probably call him a sky fairy or something, like most angry liberal, I hate God kind of people are. And you know what? I pray for you. I pray that you get your heart softened at some point in time, because holding on to that bitterness, as a matter of fact, is exactly why you're unhappy. And you're sitting here gloating over the fact that a man died because he affected your life. Well, let me tell you, people have affected my life. Let's have a talk about the VA. And these are the things that you should be concerning yourself with, as opposed to a celebrity that's human and does things, and you want to expose private parts of his life. Well, it's you like gossip. Again, another thing that the Bible frowns upon, but I know you don't believe in the book. But if you start adding up all the things about what you do that the Bible says not to do, you'll find out why your life is kind of the way it is. And you won't figure that out until you start to take a look at the very thing that you've been rejecting. And geez, really nothing I can say other than, is that hate helping you? Is that making you feel better? Is it fixing anything? Is it going to get you your job back at a news organization? And was it really that good? I don't know. Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You ready?
Yes.
How
Everything
about
all right
Kelly?
in the background over there? All right. Yeah, we could use some Kelly.
Let's listen.
All righty.
Can I ask you a question today? Are you tired, exhausted? Do you feel like after you gave your life to Jesus, all you've done is tried to get through your sin, but it's just not working? You see the sin in your life. You know sin separates you from God, but no matter how hard you try, you just can't get the sin out of your life. Look, if that sounds like you, I've got some truth today that'll set you free. And oh, son, this is good. Look, my friends, the first thing you need to know is if you could fix your sin, you would have by now, but you can't. You see, here's the problem. You gave your life to Jesus because you realized, I'm a mess. I'm a sinner and I need a savior. So at the church service or at the camp, the conference, the whatever, you raised your hand acknowledging I need Jesus in my life. But the very next second after you did that, the devil started whispering in your ear, but you didn't recognize it as the devil because what he said to you sounded like it came from God. Oh, what is the lie that he told you? He probably told you something like this. I see you gave your life to Jesus. Good for you. See all that sin in your life? If you can just get through that, you'll have a great relationship with God. So get to work. Well, hold on there, Kelly. Why would the devil tell me to get rid of the sin in my life? Doesn't the devil want me to sin? And there you have it. We don't catch the lie of the devil because why would the devil want us to work on our sin? I'll tell you why, friends. Because if you're focused on your sin, you're not focused on Jesus. Now, could someone in the comments quote me the scripture where Jesus says, you and I will tag team your sin issue? Can someone quote me the scripture where God says, you go and fix your sin? I'll wait. That's what I thought. It doesn't exist. You will not find one place in the Bible where God tells you, go fix your sin. Do you know why? Because you can't, and the devil knows that too. So if he can get you focused on your sin right out of the gate, day one, he just gave you an impossible task. And instead of being kingdom focused, you're castle focused. I gotta fix my life. I gotta get rid of this sin. Oh, really? I thought that's what Jesus came to do. Listen, my friends, let me tell you the truth today. As long as you are using your hands to fix your sin, using your hands to work on your life, you've stopped God from using his. Our God is a gentleman, and if you want to fight the battles in your life, he'll let you. However, if you will hand him the battles in your life and you let go, that's when he'll take his hands and do the best work you've ever seen. So let me encourage you today. Your job is not to fix the sin issue in your life. Your job is to expose it. Light kills darkness. Shine light on the sin in your life. You focus on Jesus. He'll fight the battle. He'll grow you and mature you into who he's created you to be. You see, the devil really only has one trick, my friends, to make you believe you don't have what you already have. He's been doing it since day one. Just the same thing he did in the garden to Eve. Hey girl, if you eat this fruit, you're gonna be just like God. Oh really? Whose image were we created in? God's. Who was Eve already like? God. The devil's trying to make you believe God's holding out on you. Come on, do you really think that's the case? It's not. God gave everything for you. Your salvation, bought and paid for. Your healing and deliverance, bought and paid for. Your marriage, your kids, your finances, your job, you're bought and paid for. Stop focusing on what's wrong with you and start focusing on what's right with him. If you could have fixed your sin by now, you would have. Clearly, we can't. So let's let him. You don't have to fix everything in your life to be in right standing with God. Jesus bought and paid for that for you too. Shift your focus today. Stop looking at your sin and start looking at the one who set you free. And think about that for a minute.
Beautifully said. Kelly K Ministries, absolutely amazing, and always bringing some real truth. And I love this message because if we're focusing on sin as if we can defeat it, what are we focusing on? The sin. What are we supposed to focus on? We're supposed to focus on God and his son, Jesus. So how do we do that? We go through the book, we find stories, we learn the stories, we learn all of the stories from the first word to the last word, from Genesis to Revelation. And when you go through there, you recognize that it is a book of wisdom and stories and parables, and there's correlations between what's going on in your life and what's happened in people's lives throughout the entirety of the Bible. And so when we see these stories and we find these correlations and the trials and tribulations that people went through, we just went through the story of Joseph again today. Wow, what a story. It's one of my favorite stories in the entirety of the Bible. And it is a story where there's many little pieces in there that you can draw out to provide wisdom in your life. Don't forget Proverbs or the Psalms. There's always wisdom. So when we turn to the book itself, we get these reminders. Okay, this situation's happening. I don't like it. Boom, something pops in your head. That's God talking to you, telling you, hey, here's this story. Remember this story? This is how you're able to overcome this issue. Go ahead, Kay.
So, when I go to the doctor, the one thing I do is I listen to the worship music on Sirius XM, channel 65, The Message. And they said something really, yes. They said something really amazing this morning. They said, you don't need a burning bush. You don't need the fire. You don't need the smoke. You don't need the talking donkeys. If you want to hear God speak to you, read the Bible. And if you want to hear him speak to you audibly, read it out loud.
That's beautiful. I love that because I can see that as 100% the truth because the book is there, every single word, to include the genealogies, which I know people are not very excited about. But in the genealogies, the beautiful thing about that is the minor variations of the words between the different, so-and-so begat so-and-so, who begat so-and-so, who begat so-and-so. It can drone on, but that's one of those things where it teaches us to fine-tune our hearing so that way we can hear deeper messages within. So yeah, turn to the book. It's really the only way. Kelly K is amazing and he's a great teacher, but it's the book itself. It is that voice that he is that reminder of a story in that trying time. I can tell you that, I can't think of anything specific off of the top of my head, a specific instance, but really, that's what I found to be through my experience, and it has helped me. There's still times where I'm not very successful. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. I had a rough patch last night, but you know what? It's fine because God's working on it, and he's changing things for me in my life every day because I am turning to him, and I am trying to repent for my errors and to forgive for all sorts of things in life. It's okay. It's okay. It's the answers are in the book.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to say, are you ready? But my computer's being a complete and utter douchebag right now. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
If you are. I mean, oh, crap. It's just fine here.
Can you read that, please?
Tulsi Gabbard on why the fake news media is still lying about the Democrat-led Russia hoax. Oh, jeez. Yeah, we gotta. Is it not playing?
No. And now I just lost both screens.
You lost both screens?
Yep.
Can you click
Nope.
up there?
Nope.
No? All right. Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
So why the fake? No, let me go ahead and just give it a little guesstimate right now as to why the
Nope. I'm going to have to go out and come back in.
the fake news is doing this. Okay. Obama orders review of Russian election-related hacking, and it's just Are we back?
Yes.
All right. Are you back? Do we have sound again?
Hold on.
All right.
Have to get everything back up now.
Yes, but do we have sound?
We should have sound.
Do we have sound? Can y'all hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? 5 by 5. Thank you very much, Dawn. I appreciate that. Whew.
Okay.
Thank you, F. Clan.
It's been several days since your monumental release of documents tying President Obama, his CIA director, and his DNI to Russia hoax fabrications. What do you think so far about the public's reaction and the media's reaction?
Well, I think a lot of the public, first of all, thanks for having me on your show, Matt. I think we've seen a lot of people, if you look across social media, who those who've been following this closely, they're not surprised at the revelation.
Do you not hear the
but
video?
They are surprised, I think, that we have found the evidence that proves that this Obama-led intelligence community assessment was a contrived document that was knowingly made using fake intelligence or substandard intelligence in order to drive this conclusion that President Obama wanted to see, which was that Russia helped Donald Trump get elected in 2016, or at least aspired to. This directly contradicted every other intelligence community assessment, every other assessment that came from the intelligence community for the last several months prior, both before the 2016 election as well as immediately after. But I want to focus here on the media's response, because this has been really what is most striking. When you look at outlets like the New York Times, the Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, Politico, you'll see in these outlets either total and complete silence, or those who are choosing to cover it are not actually pointing to the documents and the revelations that were released, that we released last week and this week, exposing the truth about this manufactured intelligence assessment. Instead, they're saying, oh, well, you know, President Obama's office says this is bizarre, or focusing on these other issues that have nothing to do with the core, very disturbing revelation that we released that frankly has to do not with Democrats or Republicans, but with the integrity of our democratic republic. It's a serious issue that should concern every American, should concern every serious news outlet. And I can only conflate their silence or attempts at misdirection as one thing, is they're afraid to tell the truth, because if they tell the truth, they'll have to remind the American people that over those 4 years, both during President Trump's election, after the election, and in the years of President Trump's first administration, they furthered the lie. They printed what the deep state actors in the intelligence community and the John Brennans and James Clappers of the world told them to print. Some even won Pulitzer Prizes for it. So in order for them to cover this honestly and objectively and simply report the truth that we released in these documents, they would also have to admit their culpability in furthering this historic lie.
Thoughts?
Well, the thing is that they're implicated. Just the fact that they're continuing on with their lies and trying to make it sound like something sinister is going on. As a matter of fact, in one of those things, it looked like that they were saying that what Tulsi Gabbard is doing is treasonous. So, yeah, they have no choice because they already got caught lying a long time ago. So, in the end, what is it? I mean, what are we supposed to think? What are we supposed to do? You know what? Everybody's backed into a corner now, because everybody's going to stick to their narrative until the truth comes out, and then it's going to be a big oh crap, and let the chips fall where they may. And that's where we're really heading. And I know that Trump didn't bring this stuff up, you know, during his previous presidency, and it wasn't acting the way he was, even towards the Queen of England, as he disrespected her by walking in front of her in a pass and review in front of her own military. These are, you know, again, little things. Actually, that's a big thing. But these things are the things that say we've gone past a point of no return. Both sides have crossed the Rubicon, metaphorically speaking, and now it just has to let the chips fall where they may.
Yes, very much so.
So, yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. It is what it is. Yeah, let's drive on.
Can you read that, please?
John Brennan's 5 lies that set Russiagate in motion. Is this a reader?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has declassified a long-buried House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, HPSCI, report exposing the fraud at the heart of the intelligence community assessment released in January 2017. That intelligence community assessment, produced by the CIA, FBI, and NSA at the behest of President Obama, claimed that Vladimir Putin helped Donald Trump win the presidency. It became a weaponized talking point, casting a shadow over Trump's legitimacy before he even took office.
Hold on.
All right.
There you go.
Burning through all this. I just dropped it.
I just wanted to get to the 5 ones.
Okay, so the first one is single source fragment. The first was a snippet from a lone human or human intelligence source with an anti-Trump bias who claimed, quote, Putin had made this decision to leak the DNC emails after he had come to believe that the Democratic nominee had better odds of winning the U.S. presidential election, and that candidate Trump at the time, whose victory Putin was counting on, most likely would not be able to pull off a convincing victory, end quote. Second one, the anonymous Ukrainian tip. The second of Brennan's tips was even flimsier. Brennan ordered inclusion of information from an anonymous email claiming Russia planned engagement with the Trump campaign as far back as February of 2016. There was zero evidence that the Trump team ever reciprocated or was even aware of such plans. Part 3. The Putin inner circle fantasy. The third Brennan claim that members of Putin's inner circle preferred Trump is probably the flimsiest of all. Though the competition is admittedly fierce, a supposedly, quote, established source claimed to have heard a secondhand account about something allegedly said in 2014 before Trump was even a candidate. No one knows where the information originated or if it did at all. So an anonymous source overheard something before Trump was even there. Yeah, it sounds pretty sus just on the surface. The Steele dossier. Number 4, the fourth most infamous was input was the fraudulent Steele dossier. For years, we were told the dossier was merely an appendix, peripheral to the intelligence community assessment. That was a lie. The new HPSCI report confirms it was cited in the main text as evidence of Putin's alleged support for Trump. And then Brennan's most brazen deception, according to the HSPCI report, Brennan personally blocked 2 Humet reports, presumably because they contradicted his narrative from being formally disseminated. And that's just piss poor intel work to deny information that you have, especially when it contradicts the information that you're presenting in an assessment. You must always consider all information. That's not intelligence. That's muckracker journalism. And that's exactly why this whole thing has just stunk from the very beginning. And that's why it's going to really come out in the wash when Congress goes through all of their investigations that are coming up here real soon. Like,
yeah, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read that, please?
Yes. Trump on Obama's immunity. He owes me big.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. President. How do you think that the Supreme Court's ruling that benefited you on presidential immunity would apply to former President Barack Obama and what you're accusing him of doing?
It probably helps him a lot. Probably helps him a lot, the immunity ruling. But it doesn't help the people around him at all. But it probably helps him a lot. He's done criminal acts. There's no question about it. But he has immunity, and it probably helps him a lot. He owes me big. Obama owes me big.
What are the details in the UK trade agreement you're hoping to find soon with the Prime Minister?
This week we want to.
Boy, that's interesting, isn't it? He owes me big. So what's actually being said here? Obviously, the stuff that Trump went through is going to help Trump or help Obama out as he tries to play. Oh, you know, it was washed out in Trump's case. So, and I was doing official presidential things. So you can't know about that. But the problem is it doesn't cover treason. So it's only going to delay the inevitable is how I see this is going to happen. And I do believe in the end, he's going to try to claim Kenyan citizenship, but I don't think Kenya is going to kind of want him around because the U.S. is a big country to piss off and Kenya just doesn't have the ability to really try to protect that guy. And what value add is the former President Obama going to provide to the nation of his birth moving forward in the future?
Right.
Big questions. Yeah, that's not the way it works, F. Clint.
You ready?
Yes.
Let's listen.
All right.
Say it with me. You cannot change people who are addicted to their problems. The people who literally, if they did not have their problems, they would not have a personality. You cannot change. These are the people that call you every single week with the exact same drama, the same relationship issues, the same money problems, the same work stress. You give them advice, they nod their head, they say thank you, and then they come back the next week with the exact same fucking thing. You're a good person. You think they want help and you want to help them, but they don't want help. They just want a bitch. They're not looking for solutions. They're looking for an audience. Instead of solving their problems,
They instead want you to feel bad for them. That's all they want. And you keep thinking that if you just say the right thing, if you keep encouraging them, keep pushing them, that they're going to eventually change. They're not, dude. You are talking to a brick wall. You can't save someone who's drowning on purpose. You can't keep wasting your energy on these people, because all they're going to do is absorb your energy, and you're going to have nothing left to actually build for yourself. If you're truly passionate about solving people's problems and helping them better themselves, find people who actually want it, because these people just don't. And no matter how much you love them, there's nothing you can do to change that.
Thoughts?
People have to want to change themselves to actually affect any kind of change. Love can make us do silly things because we love. It's our heart, it's our nature to help people. We're hardwired that way. But sometimes if people are just, if you're putting them in a self-perpetuating cycle, you can actually make it worse and drag everything out. People have to want to change to actually have that change work.
Yep. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read that, please?
Stephen Miller announces the number of missing kids that Trader Joe trafficked is actually 450,000.
Listen.
Well, so here's another one for you, Sean. On top of all of that, we now believe the true number of missing children that Joe Biden trafficked into the country, the Democrats trafficked into the country, is 450,000. Not 320, wow. 450. The Democrats have committed crimes for which they can never be forgiven, Sean. And Donald Trump is cleaning it up. Donald Trump is cleaning it up right now.
Let me say it again. Stephen, they have blood on their hands. They'll have more blood on their hands. Every murder, every rape, every violent crime. And if there's ever one of these known terrorists, we don't know where they are, that they let into this country unvetted, if there's an attack on our homeland, they'll have a lot more blood on their hands. I hope and pray I'm wrong.
They will, Sean.
I don't think I am.
Well, that's not a positive outlook now, is it?
Thoughts?
Whew. But certainly lots and lots of problems have been brought into this country over the last 4 years. And I know I had seen an article where they said that 2/3 of Americans believe that Joe Biden did this on purpose. Of course, then again, we know that Joe Biden doesn't know anything and that it was his little circle of clowns that were making sure that all of these things were happening to sink this nation. But when the bill comes due, it's not going to look pretty for the people that were involved in these kinds of shenanigans.
Yep. You ready?
Mm-hmm. And it will come due at some point in time, either on this plane of existence or the next.
Yeah. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read that, please?
Marines train for war. Veterans blast deployment of military to assist ICE in Florida. U.S. Northern Command announces deployment of 200 Marines in Florida. All right. Are we ready to go? The video's not working? Dead. Oh, your screen went dead again? Mm-hmm. Okay. So Kay's going to have to, you know what? We're probably about to go ahead and shut this thing down because we can't get the computer to work. But what I'm going to say is that the whole premise of what they're saying is that they're not supposed to be doing any kind of operations here on U.S. soil. But the problem with that is that the Marines have done operations on the U.S. soil long ago, and it's been adjudicated. And that's one of the things about the Marine Corps is that they have the ability and the authorization to conduct operations here on U.S. soil. And there's a whole long legal argument, and these 200 veterans. Last time I had checked, somebody was flapping their jib in the comments there. The comments are pretty good in that article. If you want to check it out, you can find it on Drudge Report. And it never hurts to look at that and then go look in the comments section. MSNBC is real good about having comments allowed. And so you can kind of see what's going on. But in that article, you can see it. And they said it was like 240 people, but it's a whole bunch of people that don't know what they're talking about, because that's what the Marine Corps is supposed to do. When the U.S. Marines guarded the U.S. mail here on U.S. soil because bandits kept on attacking the postal trains they put Marines on, guess what happened? Surprise! People stopped attacking the bandits, stopped attacking the trains. actually kind of a fun story. They should make a movie about it, so that way people have a reminder as to what's already been adjudicated in the Supreme Court. So with that being said, yes, the Marines can be there. They will play a supporting role. And I have a feeling, and the things that aren't being said is that the Marines are there to make sure that the property is not going to be attacked, because they probably have some real high value targets that they don't want to let go, and they don't know exactly what they're going to do with yet, because I don't think they're going to send some of these people out, because they're going to have to stand trials for the non-Geneva Conventions authorized invasion of our country, which makes this an even more significantly difficult kind of operation that's going on, because they ain't carrying a Geneva Conventions card, and they ain't doing shit in accordance with the Geneva Conventions. So these people can be all butthurt and angry that the Marines are conducting anything here on U.S. soil, but in the end, it's necessary. And it's already authorized to have happen. Be thankful that we're not doing non-Geneva Conventions kinds of things, because I know there's some people in the military that would love to have those gloves taken off. Carol says, and the Lone Ranger.
Yeah, I know. I almost skipped it altogether.
Liberty says, if y'all are just listening, if you hadn't named this episode number basically 666.1, you may haven't had trouble. LOL, just saying. Yeah, well, you know what? We try not to hide from the numbers. This is just happens to be episode 666, and Kay was trying to, make the number a little bit different. So numerologically, now it's 19, and it's just not working. Anyways.
How about some Craig?
Craig Groeschel works.
The enemy isn't attacking you because you're weak. The enemy is attacking you because you are a warrior. You have someone to protect. You have a kingdom to advance, and you have a battle to win. You may fail. Yes, you may fall. Yes, you may stumble. But with Christ, you rise to fight again, because you are a warrior, and a warrior may not win every battle, but a warrior never stops fighting. And when you continue to fight with the people of God, you will see the victory of Christ, because whom the Son sets free is free indeed.
I know, F. Clint. I know.
F. Clint said, gonna have to get yourself a fiddle to outwit the devil, Kay. All right. Look, we're all gonna stumble. We're still human. Even though we've turned to Christ, we're still gonna make mistakes. And it kind of goes back to what Kelly Kay was talking about earlier, in terms of it's not our power, it's not our ability. Our job is just to focus on God, with the understanding that we're gonna make mistakes as we continue to grow. We're not going to achieve perfection. And if you achieve perfection, then I'm going to assume that your time here on this plane of existence isn't going to last very long. But that's just a guess. I could be very wrong. But in the end, forgiveness and making sure that your focus is on God, and understanding that it's not your power, that it's his power, and praise be to God, always give it to him.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Could you read that, please?
Let's see. In a second. Put on the monocle. Thank you, Mike. All right. James Blair cooks fake news CNN's Kaitlan Collins over wasteful Fed renovations.
Let's listen.
Who was responsible for giving the president accurate information about what the cost is? Because Fed Chair Jay Powell was correcting him on live.
No, he wasn't. What the president pulled out of his pocket. No, the president pulled out of his pocket a page from the FOIA request of the Fed's own internal documents that is available on their website.
So
it's available for their.
You're saying he's wrong?
No, what the president is saying is the entire construction project that's going on, which is a build and renovation project over the last number of years, is currently at $3.1 billion. And what the Fed chair was saying was, no, you have to take one of the buildings out of it. Well, no, it's all one project on the whole complex.
Why do you disagree with that? If the building was already done and it's not part of what your issues are right now?
I don't know what you're saying. If you go back and look, and the president's looked at the forms, they're right there. You can see every single year they put out the FOIAs for every single year, and every single year the numbers have gone up for this project.
What number of years? So you're saying that the number Jake Powell gave is wrong and the one the president had is accurate in your assessment?
I think what the Fed chair is doing is splitting hairs in that moment to try to drive down the top line costs for what we're talking about.
Sir, and yes, we believe our numbers are accurate.
So
Go ahead.
They're their numbers. Again, the president was citing their numbers from their forms that they have
That
published.
was the document you FOIA, just to be clear. Because
We did not FOIA it. It's available right now on the Fed's website.
Okay.
Thoughts?
You know, if reporters would actually do their job of reporting the facts, then we wouldn't have to have these ridiculous conversations where someone is educating the press on how to do their job. Also, why do they need to spend that much money? Resorts World, the newest, most expensive casino built in Las Vegas, was only like $4.1 billion. And that's a big property, and there's a lot of money that went into that. So what exactly is going on at the Federal Reserve that they got to spend billions of dollars on what, one building? Well, it just doesn't make sense. They're wasting our money. Of course, then again, it's not really money. It's all fake and crap like that.
Yeah.
But again, this is exposure. This is to bring it to the front of people's thought process, so that way when all of these dominoes fall, it's not going to surprise anybody. It's to get rid of as much surprise as we possibly can as we transition into this actual version of the United States. Carol says, so I can stop keeping track of my good points and bad points because I lose them as fast as I earn them. I guess.
I mean, that's what Kelly was saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Don't have to keep track. Just got to keep focused.
Yep. You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
All right. Yes. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Russ Vought provides details about the largesse that's going into the Fed building renovations.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very good visit. We learned a lot. The president learned a lot from being able to see it with his own eyes. He's a master builder. He has had great interest in this project. We learned a lot from watching him as a builder, figuring out the types of things that he would never have done and designing this as a renovation. And fundamentally, the reasons for why this is costing so much. They had good conversations throughout, and we're not surprised that they don't necessarily agree with every of the viewpoints that we have. But these are the numbers that have come from the Fed. And they are entirely correct. This renovation, the combination of all of the headquarter buildings, is a $3 billion, and the overrun just for those two buildings. We want to talk about just those two in the Chairman Powell, the overrun just for those two buildings is $1 billion, and there's some unbelievable reasons for why that is so.
Such as,
number one, they are putting a tunnel in between the buildings. Number two, they're essentially excavating an entire basement approach in an area of the DC the National Mall that we know has problems with water. So you have to go very deep. You have to be able to figure out how you're going to prevent future leakage down the road. And they have a enormous parking lot that they are building into the ground. That is something that most agencies don't have. For $30 million compared to the $250 million for the parking itself, you could be able to provide parking benefits for the entirety of the Fed. There's largesse everywhere you look, and there are some fundamental reasons for why this thing has become so big. This is not just restoring a building that needed to be restored for its historical purposes, nor is it the only renovation this building has received. That is inaccurate. This building had renovations at the turn of the century, 1999 or so. And so there's been a lot of work done to this building. This is about doing enormous renovations of an entire headquarter building and largely escaping the notice of the public and Congress.
Thoughts?
All right. So more exposure showing how they're wasting our resources to have pretty buildings. I don't care about their pretty buildings. I care about putting food on people's tables. I care about Americans having a safe country that's free from an invading army. Those are things that I care about. Those billions of dollars could have been used to finish the wall. But here we are.
Here we are.
So that way they can have tunnels. So that way they can be seen even less by the people that they rule over. Yeah, no one's above the law, and nobody should receive any benefit greater than anybody else should be able to receive. This is ridiculous. It's to point out the ridiculousness that is. I look forward to all of this getting hashed out in the end. Liberty says probably will soon find out the kickbacks from the construction company before Trump got in. That's another thing. It's all going to be tied together. Follow the money, and I hope and pray that that's where we're going, because if we don't, we're screwed. Then I guess it's a different option at that point in time, huh?
Yep. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen.
All righty.
But anyway, I told Miss Kay, I said, how many more days we have? She said, tomorrow's the last day. I said, well, we'll pray about it and see what happens. So the next day, I said, here's what you do. Let's go check the mailbox before I go up there and meet with the banker. Let's go down there and look at the mail. And maybe we got a duck call order or whatever. She said, you're not going to get $600 at the mailbox? I said, well, let's check it. So we walked down there. She goes with me. We walked down there at that mailbox. I opened it up, and I'm thumbing through the mail, and I get an envelope. It says, the Bank of Tokyo. Some other Japanese town, but this was from the Bank of Tokyo. And I thought, I looked up in the sun. I get it, Miss Kay, it's a check. I said, I can see it. It's a check. She said, are you kidding? I said, let me see here. I opened it up.
Thoughts?
Miracles always happen exactly when you need them. It's just about maintaining that faith. We just relayed that story the other day about the miracle, because we've been asking for a good doctor to help Kay with her neck. And you know what? We were given a sign, and you know what? We're moving forward with it. But God always, I know, right? F. Glenn just dropped it there at the end. Anyways, the miracles are always there. He wants to bless us more than we even know how to ask or imagine. We just have to open ourselves up to the possibility and the knowledge that God will make these miracles happen.
Amen. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read that, please?
All righty. State Department is trying to get 90 million meals into Gaza.
Let's listen.
We have been dedicated to getting those 90 million meals into Gaza in a way where it has not been looted by Hamas. We have been dedicated to getting aid into Gaza. It is something that the Secretary and the President have talked about, worked for. These discussions of getting more aid into Gaza have been part of that ceasefire we are hoping for. But again, the blame of this lies at the feet of Hamas, and that is the fact of the matter.
Short of Hamas doing something, changing its behavior, the U.S. government will allow the situation to proceed as is.
The U.S. government is supporting an effort to get 90 million meals into Gaza. The U.S. government is supporting an effort to get as much aid as possible to the people that need it without it being looted by Hamas. That is the actions of the U.S. government in terms of supporting that effort. And we call on others to support that effort to get as much aid as we possibly can. Of course, it will never be enough. It is something we are continually working for, to get more and more aid in what ways we can without being looted by Hamas every single day.
Thoughts?
All right. So the reason why this is even a thing right now, and I'm surprised that the connections, or I haven't seen the connections be made, but doesn't mean that they haven't been. And that is why is the State Department doing this now? Because USAID isn't around. We defunded the UN. We're not playing their games anymore. The world needs to know, hey, look, we're the ones paying for all of this stuff, just so y'all know, and we're trying to get it in there. But there are problems and groups and people that are preventing the aid that needs to arrive. This is how it works. And this is how we have to move forward. The State Department should be taking care of stuff like this. That should be where this stuff is done, and it doesn't need to be some outside agency with a whole bunch of unelected officials that you can't fire or get rid of, sitting there bilking all the money and putting it into their own damn pockets or into their little pet projects that have absolutely no value whatsoever, like what gets a sunfish more drunk.
Tequila or whiskey?
We don't know. All we know is that was something, a research project that was done. But now this money can go directly there. This aid can show up. And this is the way it was done before. It's the way it should be done moving forward.
Yep. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Yes. President Trump on Hamas. I think they want to die.
Let's listen.
Yeah, Gaza, they pulled out of Gaza. They pulled out in terms of negotiating. It was too bad. Hamas didn't really want to make a deal. I think they want to die, and it's very, very bad. And it got to be to a point where you're gonna have to finish the job. They really they asked for things. Don't forget, we got a lot of hostages out. So now we're down to the final hostages, and they know what happens after you get the final hostages. And basically, because of that, they really didn't want to make a deal. I saw that. So they pulled out, and they're going to have to fight, and they're going to have to clean it up. You're going to have to get rid of it.
Thoughts?
Well, this is how you deal with terrorists, basically. They're going to do what's ever in their best self-interest. And if that means using humans as a shield to try to prevent something, this hard stance of, look, you know, you need to do things the right way, and then you have a chance. If you don't want to do things the right way, you got no chance. And he made that very clear. They must want to die. All right, that's their thing. It's no skin off his back.
Right.
So.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read that, please?
Crystal clear. It's the only thing you can do. All right. Laura Logan explains why radical Islam is a misnomer.
Let's listen.
We should.
But if you look at the playbook of radical Islamists, first of all, it's identical to the Marxist playbook in many respects. Unrestricted warfare is unrestricted warfare, which whether it's done by the Chinese or what we call radical Islamists. But radical Islam is a term that is in itself created to deceive, because having studied the Quran, you will know that it's not actually radical to fight for the restoration of the Ummah, which is the Islamic people and the Sharia throughout the world. In fact, it's as mainstream as Islam gets to believe in that as the established. So it's not a radical idea. It might be groups that use radical tactics, but we're the ones who gave it that name. And that's where the role of the media comes in. And if you actually look at the term Islamophobia, you cannot date that term prior to the Obama administration. It didn't exist. It wasn't a concept. So this is why history for journalists matters. So what happens with the rise of independent media is you get a lot of people that can grab a microphone and can grow an audience. And if they make a deal with a social media company, they can get a big audience pretty quickly. They can come out of nowhere. I don't know. They can come out of the CIA like Sean Ryan, and they can be very popular very quickly. And they can stay there as long as somebody else decides to keep them there. But what is it they're not doing? What are they not? We are students. Journalists are students, not experts. Any journalist presented to you as an expert is already lying to you, because we're not experts. I can do a series for 5 years. I can cover nuclear energy, and I will never have the knowledge of a nuclear scientist who's truly an expert. So what we are supposed to be is students of history, students of culture, students of modern popular, governments and who are the players of the time. We literally are students of everything, but journalists have stopped being that. Number one, daily news and immediate deadlines are the death of that kind of level of knowledge and investigation, but they're necessary. So it's important for journalists really to be able to transition beyond those things, right? You can be a daily news journalist for a while and really get hard news skills, or work for a news agency and have that instant hard news nose. But what you're supposed to build over time is context and knowledge. And that is supposed to be merged with principles. But what we have as journalists who are not curious, the reason you don't know the stories that Jack's telling you about is because our media lies by omission. So it's not just what they print that's not true, it's what they don't tell you. You get slices of the truth, because the best propaganda is built on kernels of truth. When you make something up, it's very hard to keep it there, because what happens, it's a lie that has no legs and it keeps collapsing on itself, and you keep having to tell more lies. And as you do that, you create you create a trail of guilt, which is exactly where we are with Tulsi Gabbard today. Right, with what she's revealing, because the lie of Russia collusion had constantly propped up, and now that's crumbling.
Thoughts?
Because we don't have journalists at the legacy media anymore. It has created an environment for people like Sean Ryan, and I think that that's great. It is great, because they've been muckrackers for so long, and they've been trying to drive the narrative, and people are thirsting for the truth, and so it allows other, little podcasts to pop up, like this little tiny one here, and no, I'm not a journalist. I'm certainly not classically trained on really anything, and so it's just kind of jump right in, and it's difficult to get into a daily news cycle kind of understanding of what's happening, because you have to have a wide breadth of information that you're drawing from to be able to put all this stuff together. But the good thing about all these anons that are out there, the people who are seeking the truth, the conspiracy theorists, whichever moniker you prefer to utilize for yourself, and the people seeking the truth, is you become at least a much better consumer of information that makes you more savvy to not be fooled by the propaganda machine that's been around for so long. And as more and more people are becoming savvy consumers of information, it makes it more difficult for propaganda type techniques that were really, kind of massaged and worked out and made much better during the Nazis that our current journalists seem to be utilizing against the American people. But I'm sure they're not Nazis, of course.
No, not at all.
They hate Nazis. They tell us that every day.
Yeah.
Huh. Anyway.
Right. Ready?
People are just getting smarter.
They are. Ready?
It needs to happen. Yes.
Let's listen.
Anybody that has seen God show up for them knows. Once you see God move, can't nobody tell you nothing. Once you've experienced God on that level, it's not really much convincing you need. I can almost guarantee you God is going to show up and show out. The Bible says when trials and tribulations come our way, it's an opportunity for us to grow through the testing of our faith through experience. See, this walk is not about what you just read in the Bible. It's about walking this thing out every day and experiencing God in a real way.
Thoughts?
It is about walking the walk, and it is about reading the Bible, and the Bible is what tells us the specific walk that we should be walking. It's good to get information and go to church and listen to, the pastor and everything. But again, every pastor is a human being. And so we have to go to the book, and the book is what tells us that walk that we're supposed to take. And it's not an easy path to walk, but as we turn our heart to it, it sure does make it a little bit easier to walk that path each and every day. So make sure you're lighting your lamp on that path with the word, and that will help you walk that journey that you're supposed to walk.
Yeah. So it's Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw this story.
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Oh, jeez. This crap. All right. Mutant Bambi goes after the humans that killed his family.
Ready?
This is ridiculous. Why are we wasting anybody's time with this? All right. Let's see it. Oh, good advertisement.
I know.
Woohoo. Advertisements everywhere.
Because I chew you, is it?
We're visiting his dad's family.
And an advertisement?
You're bringing it here.
It's perfectly safe.
I'm sorry. You'll never get that time back ever again. But at least now you know that you probably don't want to go see a PETA person's wet dream movie. It should get crowds in the tens. Is my expectation. I don't know. I could be wrong.
What is going on in Hollywood?
Who would have thought Sharknado did as well as it did? It may have a cult following, and I think that's what they're going for. Although I will say I'm a little upset about the rated R nature of the advertisement with the guy getting decapitated and the blood spurting everywhere.
Right.
We're so desensitized to violence that that's somehow acceptable now.
I know.
Hmm.
That's Hollywood in a nutshell.
Yeah, well.
So if you don't go see movies, you're not missing anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that's a very deep storyline that's going to teach you anything.
No.
With a vampire Bambi deer thing.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that,
Wash my
please?
brain out now. Yes. This journalist is going to take down, going to take down the radical socialist Zohran Madami.
Let's listen.
All right.
I read every tweet that Zohran Mamdani has ever posted, and there are 16,000 of them. I've watched and listened to every interview he's ever done, and I found his secret Instagram account that I think he's forgotten about, where his profile picture is this. I've cold called his former classmates, teachers, and co-members of Students for Justice in Palestine. And no, it's not stalking, it's called journalism. And what have I discovered from all this sleuthing? Mamdani is much more radical than his new polished campaign is painting him out to be. Here are some examples in his own words taken from his Twitter. He's a socialist. He wants to defund the police and abolish medical bills. And capitalism is theft. And he once suggested taking apartments from rich people and giving them to the homeless. And of course, he believes the government should provide free housing for all. For more receipts on Mamdani's past, read my piece in the Free Press. Please read it. I read 16,000 of his tweets.
Wow. That sounds like actual journalism. I have to check that out. Sounds like she did an amazing job, because that's what journalism is supposed to be, is going through each and every one of these, everything to get the full picture, and then contacting people and getting all the information. It's something that the press should have been doing for all of these people, like Barry Soetoro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had they done their job, if they were actual journalists before they let the usurper come in, I'm going to say that we could have avoided a lot of socialist principles that this nation never wanted.
Yeah. Could have.
Except for, some real radicals out there. But, they have a right to think the way they do. But, we're in the world we're in, aren't we? Liberty says she better start telling people yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I think she'll be fine. I think that a lot of those things aren't as bad as they were.
Right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read this, please?
Trump says he's thinking about sending tariff-funded rebate checks to Americans. Here we go with this again. Oh, geez. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. Let's see. President Donald Trump said on Friday that he was contemplating sending rebate checks to Americans using tariff revenue. The U.S. government ran a $27 billion budget surplus in June, fueled partly by record tariff revenue, which exceeded $100 billion for the first time in a fiscal year, Reuters reported. When a reporter asked Trump at the White House if there was a chance of a rebate for Americans due to the revenue, the president said his administration was prioritizing paying off debt, but that a small rebate for some Americans was possible. All right.
You want to watch it?
Oh, there's a video. You said I had to read it. All right. Yeah, I may as well watch it now. Shit.
There's one simple vision hack
After
anyone
these
can use to improve
advertisements,
vision.
but you know, hey.
So you can say goodbye
What is
to
this
your
crap with
optometrist for good.
spoons? That
Did you
just
know
looks like
that
a stupid idea.
America is back, thanks to President Trump and leader John Thune's working family tax cuts. No,
Mr. President, with all of that revenue coming in tens and tens of billions of dollars, do you think there's the possibility of a rebate to the American public in terms of all of that money? We're thinking about that, actually. We have so much money coming in, we're thinking about a little rebate, but the big thing we want to do is pay down debt. But we're thinking about a rebate. That's a very good question. You just made a lot of news. We're thinking about a rebate because we have so much money coming in from tariffs that a little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice.
Thinking about it, he was non-committal to that in so many ways. So I'm gonna not put my hopes into that one at all. And if we get a rebate check, I'd rather not have the national debt, and I'd rather use the funds to get rid of a lot of the problems that we have. But that's another thing. I'm not in office, so my opinion apparently isn't given as much weight as so many Americans would like to have their voice weigh in on things.
Right.
But we, giving checks out to, and he said some people, so who knows what any of that
It would be
means.
a lower.
Income bracket, I would
Yeah.
hope, because so many people are struggling with how we have these Biden prices
Yes. Very
on
much so.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ready?
Mhm.
Let's listen.
All right.
God will test you with suffering. God will test you with challenges. God will test you with difficulties. God will test you with hard times. But that is when the proof of your faith is manifested, not when everything is given to you, not when it's easy, not when times are simple, but in the challenges. Do you curse God or do you bless him for giving you the opportunity to experience these challenges, to become better and to get closer to him?
Thoughts?
All right. That is one of the things that I've been working on, and that is thanking God for the challenges. I kind of fell off the horse there after the VA screwed us again on the 2nd of July. Hey, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day. Fuck you, veterans. So anyways, that's another story altogether. It is about thanking God for the challenges, because I have learned a lot, and I am grateful for these lessons because it gives me a lot more understanding about where my heart should be. And when we thank God for our challenges, I found that I get through them a little bit faster than I did when I was bitching and complaining about them. But then again, this is one of those things where you go back to the book and the story of Exodus. The entire generation was left out of the promised land because they were whining and complaining about how they didn't like everything. And as opposed to thanking God for the lessons, for helping us grow, thanking him for the gifts of the manna, of the water that came out of the rock, all of these things. Those miracles are things that, that the Israelites who were wandering the desert were supposed to be focusing on, as opposed to everything that they didn't like. And that's one of those great lessons that we learn is count it all joy.
Amen. Amen. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen.
All righty.
You've survived storms others would drown in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Remind yourself of what you've been through and what you've had the strength to endure." Too often we forget the battles we've already won, the times we've stood firm when everything around us tried to break us. Think back, Remember those moments when you thought you couldn't go on, the nights that felt endless, the days that seemed impossible. Yet, here you are, standing stronger than ever. You didn't get here by luck. You got here by fighting, by enduring, by refusing to give up. So when doubt creeps in, when fear tries to pull you back, remind yourself of this simple truth. You are the product of every storm you've weathered. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. Remember who you are and face whatever comes next with that power.
All right.
Remember who you are. We've all been through challenges. And remember, you're not the same person you were last week, let alone 5 years ago. So always remember who you are, what you've been through, what you've accomplished, and all the changes you've made. Remember that because you are on this journey with God, you change constantly. And there are going to be days that you're going to be in your Job season. And it sucks. But when we persevere, amazing things happen. So take a little bit of time to congratulate yourself on changing and becoming a better version of yourself. Seasoning?
Well said. I'm just going to say persistence, perseverance. Those are the things that matter. Giving up isn't going to make the problems go away. It's only going to make them worse. Make sure you keep on and recognize the strength that you've gathered as you've gone through all of these problems in life. And yeah, you might not be a spring chicken anymore, but you still have the ability to overcome, because there's something to be said about the wisdom that comes with time and understanding that things don't affect you today the way they did 10, 15 years ago. And it's all part of that growth process. And the only way to continue growing is to make sure that you keep on moving forward. Don't ever give up, friends, because that's when you have lost. And there's no reason in giving up on God, because he's not going to give up on you.
Never.
All right, everybody.
Remember this. No matter how far away you think you are from God, it's just one step back to him.
There you go. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another week. We do appreciate it, and we appreciate each and every one of you. And we'll be back on Monday, same dat time, same dat channel, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Locals, and Pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute. Excuse my sneeze and cough. Okay.
Sneeze and cough.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble, give us that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net. Oh, and YouTube. Yeah.
That's why there's 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on Facebook, you got like 7 choices, but choose a heart.
It's a preference.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean,
Pick whatever you want.
Pick whatever you want. We're not here to tell you what to do or how to live your life.
Nope.
All right, everybody. We love you all. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and God bless each and every one of you.